Happy Monday morning jumpstart, everybody. So we have a little something different for you. I recently recorded an interview with Marcella Allison, and after that interview, I got with the team and I was like, this is something that everybody needs to hear. If you aren't familiar with Marcella Allison, she works as a copywriter at some of the top direct companies in the industry. Her copy has generated over $100 million in sales for financial trading services, alternative health supplements, and informational products. But as you'll hear over the next few weeks, it's not always been smooth sailing for Marcella. And I asked Marcella what keeps her going when things are really tough in business and in her personal life. So I want you to take a listen to what she had to say. Now, Marcella, I am privy enough to know your story very well. But we have some folks here who, there's a not, I want to say a tough road, but there's a road ahead. You're trying to do something new. It's never smooth sailing and it's never super easy. When they're on this journey, we propose having a why, like a something that is driving you through this, something that is keeping you, your motivation of why you are doing this. For you, I know there's been ups and downs and a lot in life and in career. What is your why? How has that played into your journey, and what keeps you going when things are just not going the way you want them to go?
I love that. And I love Ted's talk on that. So you guys, if you haven't listened to that yet, listen to that. I love how Ted talks about that. Couple things that come up. The first is Pauline Longdon has the best why of anyone. And I'm going to give you all permission. So Pauline Longdon is a wonderful AWAI success story, a top copywriter. She has been a coach in the Circle of Success program. One of the things that Pauline says in her talk, and I just think this is great, I'm going to give you permission to steal this as your own why. She says her why is her future self. And I think she actually says her 80-year-old self. I'm not sure.
It's 20 years in the future, I think.
20 years in the future. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm 57. I'm going to be 58 this year. So my future self would be 78, right? Imagine that you're sitting down with that, like a real person, like really put color and shape and context around that future person. And in fact, if you're into tech, and I'm not, there is a little thing, you can Google it online where you can actually pose as your picture today and tell it you want to see yourself like 30, 50, whatever. And it like actually ages you, right? Kind of horrifying, but in a good way. So imagine sitting down with your future self. So I'm going to be sitting down with my 78-year-old self. Now imagine that you gave up on this dream you have right now, that you quit today, that you decided it was too tough, that you didn't want to do it. You all have heard, right, the infamous study that people don't regret in general. I mean, I guess unless you shot somebody, but in general, people don't regret things they did. What they regret are things they didn't do.
100%.
So you're going to be sitting here. I'm sitting here with my 78-year-old self. I have a goal this year to write a memoir. What if I'm sitting with her and I quit? I didn't do it. I didn't keep writing. What is the feeling that I'm going to have, right? And you can think of it from a health perspective, right? If I say I'm going to walk every day and I don't do anything except sit in this chair for the next 20 years, then when I meet that person, right, they're going to be like, really? Now I can't even move. And all you had to do was get up and walk for 20 minutes a day, right? So one of the tips I'm going to give you for the future self is I'm going to steal from Pauline. Go out 20 years in the future. Imagine you're sitting down with yourself and you have to account for why you quit, right? It's going to be a tough conversation and one you don't want to have, right? The second thing is another lesson from another mentor of mine, Brian Kurtz. And when I would go to Brian and I would be anxious and overwhelmed and I would say, I'm freaking out about this thing, or especially when everybody else is getting it faster than me.
Yeah, that's tough.
Right? Or everyone else it's too late for me. It's too late for me, right? Like how many people have that experience? Like it's too late for me. I couldn't possibly catch up with that, right? He says, lean into generosity. Stop worrying about what everybody else has and whether you're too late and whether you catch up, and just start leaning into generosity. Be generous, do things for other people. And my family, as you know, right, has a long history with AA and Al-Anon. And in the 12-step world, we say, get busy doing service work. Stop worrying about your own self. Get busy helping others. And you might be saying to yourself, but I'm brand new to copywriting. How could I possibly help somebody else? There's a million ways you can help somebody else. In the AA model, we say you could set up the chairs for the meeting. You could show up 10 minutes ahead of time and unfold chairs, right? The equivalent here is maybe you have a conversation with someone else who's also overwhelmed and you're there to listen and give support, right? Maybe you're doing a course and you say to someone, hey, why don't we be buddies with each other? I'll be your accountability buddy and I'll check in with you to see if you're doing what you said you were going to do. There's a million ways you can get busy being of service that will get you out of your own crazy, right? Yeah. Put your own crazy aside and start helping somebody else. And I think those two, especially for me, especially generosity, have helped me the most in my career when I have been freaked out, overwhelmed, thinking I can't do it. If I get busy being generous, then I don't get so wrapped up in my own head of what, you know, what's due to me. Am I doing this right? Blah, blah, blah. And the other thing is generosity has a way of boomeranging back on you.
Yes.
So when you are generous, you don't do it with the idea of someone's going to pay you back. But when you begin being generous and leading into generosity, what happens is other people then want to help you move your career forward.
Yes.
They want to thank you. They want to show up for you. They want to be generous for you. So I think for me, what helped me in some of the darkest moments was paying it forward, right? Being generous. And the other thing is gratitude. And I know, we hear a million times a day, right? Oh, practice gratitude, make your gratitude list, be grateful. There's a reason, because there's actually a ton of research that shows it works. And I'm going to give you all a little gratitude trick here that is taught by Melanie Beatty. She wrote a book called Making Miracles in 40 Days. Her little trick, I call it dark and twisty gratitude. Her trick is your gratitude list doesn't just include the things you actually feel grateful for right now. It includes all the other crap you're freaking out about. And all you have to do is say, I'm grateful for. She says, you might not feel it, but you're going to practice writing that down with the intention that someday that's going to pay off, right? So let's say you're completely anxious today and you bought a course and you haven't even started it, right? Because you can't even, like, just the thought of opening it makes you want to drink a bottle of bourbon and crawl under the desk. So then you can say, today I'm grateful I have not even opened my course XYZ. Just gonna put it on the list, right? Gonna put it on the list. And you're going to find a couple things happen. One is, if you put that on the list 15 days in a row, by the 16th day, you can't even listen to yourself say that one more time. So you're like, I'll be darned if I'm going to have to write that down tomorrow. So today I'm going to open the course. So you sort of like push yourself to do it because you're tired of writing down, I'm grateful I haven't opened the course, right? And the other thing is, whatever that hard thing is, I'm grateful I'm so anxious. I'm grateful I'm terrified of this new career. I'm grateful I'm terrified to leave my job. What happens is that things start to shift. I can't even explain it. It sounds completely...
I know what it is. I know the sign. It's because you cannot be in a state of gratitude and be in a state of anxiousness. So that's what it is. So you're literally shifting from the one to the other because it's literally impossible for your body to feel both.
Love that.
At the same time. So that's what that does. Even when you're acknowledging the thing that's making you anxious, because you're in a state of gratitude, it's impossible to feel both at the same time. Science.
I love it. And I'll add one more twist, which I did for 3 years. So there was a certain period in my life when almost all my children were either in or out of a psych ward. I can't even explain it. And addiction, and like, just imagine your whole life blowing up, right? I was doing this gratitude practice, and she adds a twist, which is, she said, if you can find a non-judgmental partner, send your list to each other as a witness. You don't say anything. You don't comment. You don't go, really? You haven't opened that course yet? You know, Marcella, you should get on it. Nothing. You just send it to each other. I did it with a fellow AWAI member, Monica Day, who I had met in 2005 at my very first boot camp. We did it for 3 years. Wow. Melanie just says, try it for 40 days. We actually did it for 3 years, and it made a massive difference. So I'll add that as an extra twist. If you happen to know someone who's in AA, in AWAI that you've met through this program or a program you're working on, you can partner up, right? You can partner up and send your list to each other. So I think in terms of the why that gets you through, one, try Pauline's. Imagine yourself 20 years from now. Imagine you don't do the thing you're trying to do now, and you have to sit down with that future self who then didn't get any of the benefits of what you were going to do, who missed out on all of that. What's that conversation going to be like? The second thing is when you're freaking out and you're all focused on yourself and I'm too old to do this and I'm not far enough along and so is twice as good as me. Get out of that and get into generosity. Do what Brian Kurtz says, get into generosity. Just get busy helping someone else, right? And you'll start to notice that shift. And then finally, practice gratitude. Make this list every morning. Put everything on, even the dark and twisty stuff, right? Just list. All you have to do is say, today I'm grateful for, and then list it, right? Yeah. Those are 3 tools that I think can help you when you're trying to keep putting one foot in front of the other on this road.
So what do you think, guys? Do you think you can find a way to be generous, grateful, and kind to your future self? We all have gifts to give. So for this week, I'm asking you every day to think of something that you're grateful for, to find a way to give, because we never get poor from giving. Marcella will be back with us next week, and we will talk about the topic of fear. You're going to want to hear what she has to say. See you then.